Sam, I think it's time.
Peter, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so we can start while others join us as we go.
Okay.
The
Hi,
floor is
Peter.
yours, sir.
Hey, Olakole.
Hope
What's up?
you're good. Thank you for accepting our invitation, and thank you for the session that you're about to give us. So I think to start off, if you can just tell us a bit. I mean, you're part of the community, but then, and I know you've done this before, but for people that would be listening or watching rather on our YouTube channel, so you can probably just give a little bit of background about yourself, your work, and just some fun stuff before you get started.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Peter, as you already know, anyways. I, I'm a designer. I started freelancing in 2016 after university. So uh, then I started writing. So I used to be a writer. And from writing, I decided to start doing website design. My website design was really very, very average.
Okay.
And as someone who wanted to earn more and increase my earning, who wanted to make sure that I could make a website that people would say, you know what, I'm going to pay ₦1 million for this website. You know, I'm going to pay 5 million for this website. And so I said, how can I improve myself? Then I started UI UX design. So since then, I've been designing websites that are, that look like $1 million websites.
That's good.
For brands.
Bridge.
Stop piping me. So I've been doing that for a while now, and from there I decided to work with startups. I've worked with several startups and several individuals,
Okay.
different places, and yeah. So I'm just seeing how it goes, looking for that particular big role
Okay.
someday. Like every day I keep sharpening my skills, trying to improve better, and I can see I'm almost there. Where I can see I've covered the syllabus as a designer.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Quite rich.
Okay. So I think that's the introduction. That's me.
All right, thank you for the introduction. So we're leaving the floor to you now to show us the way to the $1 million website.
Okay. Cool. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Okay. So my name is Peter. We already know that, and today we're going to be talking about designing seamless web experience. So over the last few years, maybe 10, 20 years, we've seen the internet change. We've seen design change. Except if you're Gen Z, you may not know much about stuff. People like that are old. We've been interacting with computers since we're very, very young, and you can see how it was not very inclusive to people. Designs were just for a specific set of people. There was this thing where you have buttons that are just very, very flashy. When you use Dreamweaver and Flash to design websites, you see them. But over the time, we've seen that technology has improved, and with the improvement in technology and with the presence of new devices and bigger screens, we've seen that design is not just something that is it's just by the side. It's not something you can ignore, especially for websites, design, and products. I keep wondering some days that would there be a time when we won't need website designers anymore or designers anymore? Will there be a time when businesses won't need designers? But every day we can see that startups are coming up, new brands, new solutions, new billion-dollar companies are going to come up in the next 10, 20 years with new solutions, and they will be solving many problems. And it's very important for us as designers to know that we play a very vital role in how a brand is being viewed. We play a vital role, or we play the first impression. We create the first impression with users out there. Sometimes the products we build or work on will be assessed or seen by people all over the world, or they will be the first point that a user comes into contact with before they use a product. For example, from websites, you could leave this where you download the mobile app of that company and use it. And once you fail in making the user experience seamless design or have a seamless experience on web, the user may not forgive. There's unforgiveness sometimes for users. And a good example of forgiveness in design is when you go to websites and there are many ads there, and then you find out these fake buttons. Download now. It's flashing. Boom, 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 boom. You're like, okay, this has to be the button. I'm sure everyone can relate, because we try to download maybe a file somewhere, an illustration somewhere, and it's saying download now, or it's software, and it's saying download now, and it's just flashing. And you're like, okay, this has to be the button, and then you click on it, and then it opens an ad for you multiple times. Then you now find a ghost button underneath the flashy button with download. Click to download, and you now realize that button that is not flashy is the download button. And unforgiveness goes in a way whereby people would choose to say that, okay, once they visit the website that shows this thing where you find the flashy button, they decide to not click on it anymore. They're like, oh, you know what, I'm not listening to the site. They'll just waste my time over and over again. Sometimes the trick to this button is that the owner of the website wants to make profits. So you have to click on the link 3 times, and it opens 3 adverts for you, so that the owner of the website can make profit through ad revenue. So sometimes you have to click on it 3 times or 4 times before it finally allows you to download the content or the file you want to download. But anyways, also that's actually even part of experience. But you know, in this sense, there's a way to design for businesses. As a designer, there's a way to have a business consciousness when designing. That, okay, I'm designing for the businesses. These are the goals I'm trying to achieve with this design, and this is it. So seamless design experience is part of this. So let's start. Okay, so this seamless design equals seamless UX. When the design is seamless and it's smooth, you know, the user can easily interact with it and use it well. The scrolling is good. There's a back button after the person has visited the site. You know, then this gives you a very, very good experiences. So we can look at maybe buying products online, for example. You see that in the last few years, we've moved digitally more than ever before. Society has moved digitally more than ever before. We now order food online. We use more websites every day. We have websites for different things, to buy food, to buy files, Spotify, and the rest of them. All these are buying behaviors, and over the last few years, they've changed. If you're not online, your target market will probably go to competitors that have online presence. And if your website is not looking smooth or clean, or does not carry the tone of your brand, what am I talking in first person or third person? I'm not even sure, because I keep saying your brand. Like, okay, I'm talking to business people, I'm talking to designers. Okay, so if a website does not carry the tone for the company that we're trying to help build a presence or a product for, people will find it sketchy and say, you know what, nah. Sometimes when I try to apply for roles and I see that website for the company is not nice, I'm like, I don't really trust them. I don't trust them to do, or I'm worried that I will be the only designer on the team, and and then they won't pay well. So anyways, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I said the mindset is that if you cannot take good care of your own website, how will you take care of customers? So yeah, if you cannot give me a good website as you're hiring for a designer in a company that should have designers and claim to be multi-billion or $1 million in investor funding, how would you then pay me? How can I trust you to pay me or to work? So you cannot afford to lose out on potential customers because you have a website that needs a redesign. So here we're here to learn all the things that make up good design and that makes up seamless design. Sorry for the typo error here. So the first impression matters. I said that before I start. Yes. So when you go to visit the website for the first time, you decide to visit the website maybe again or first. There are times I go to some website and I look at it and I'm like, this website is nice, and then I go over it again. I don't know if I'm going over it as a designer. I don't know if other people who are non-designers also go through the website or visit it again because they enjoy the experiences. They can visit the website, they can find what they are looking for. All the days I spent in university, the university website was really terrible. I know every university website is terrible. I mean, I'm never eager to visit it. In fact, I probably failed the GNS 101 in university because the website was so bad I couldn't find where to post. We had this course in school where we had to post every day, like social media. So I failed the course. I mean, I'm always an addict to my phone, but yet I failed the course. I just needed me to post and copy and paste stuff. And that was because the experience was very, very terrible. To find the button for uploading a post, the another level was really very, very hard. And so I would just postpone till I got bad grades in that course and I carried the course. So anyways, good impressions go a long way. So seamless website design also makes a website like easy to use. So as a designer, we need to understand the necessity of different elements and how they play out to create a good design. People want to visit the website and then they just want to skip and just get to the point. So as a designer, you are not designing a brochure, you're designing a product. And product does not need to have chunk of information or chunk of items that are not needed. This is why we have priority in design and hierarchy. For example, many of us probably own perfumes that have like several texts, hundreds of texts on the website, or I mean on the perfume bottle, and we don't even read it. The only thing we know about the product is that it has this name, Nivier. The Nivier is bold, the bottle is small. We don't really care about the other details unless we're intentional to go about it and look at it. So people just want the website they visit to address certain information. So as a designer, you have to know that our job is to convey this information to people effortlessly and easily. So I was speaking to a designer some years ago, and because I have a background in design, before I decided in UX design, I kind of find website design easier. Some people find it harder. Some people find it easy to design apps than websites. Some people find it easy to do dashboards. For me, I find it harder to do dashboards until recently, until when I started working for the startup in UK. Then I started enjoying dashboard designs. But many people do not like website design, say it's hard. Even from someone who owns an agency, I spoke to him, he was like, oh, website design is harder than this. I was like, what harder how? For me, it has always been simple and stuff. So, in a sense, it can be hard when you have to take in several rules. For me, I think it's already inbuilt, so I already know what I am trying to do, which is why I think my websites are really top. So, websites is hard because it's not just you who designs, it's you designing for people. And you have to consider several factors. We'll go through them as we speak. We have at least 17 flows. I went on this class for 1 hour. I totally forgot it was 2 hours, so we'll try and make it, interesting. I hope I'm not even boring yet. Okay, so we have to take into account many things as a designer, from hierarchy to color to grid to golden ratio. Yes, even golden ratio. Yeah, golden ratio, to the triangle, to the Z method of looking at content. So, when trying to design a seamless design, we look at how to gather information first of all. To create good or a seamless design, we have to be careful to make sure that we are doing the right thing and making the right steps. So for every product, we know that we have to start with research. You have to find out more about the products, what's the product about, what are we doing, and the demography, who is the website for. But there are websites that look like they are mostly brutalist websites, and then you're like, okay, an old man certainly cannot visit this website because the fonts are too small. A child cannot visit XYZ website because the fonts are too big, and then they cause a distraction. The child cannot follow up. So we have to look at the focus groups and so on. Then, if we're doing a design from scratch or a design of a product that does not exist already, we know that we have to do quantitative research rather than qualitative. So we look at the trends, we look at who the users are and what they need, what kind of products they use, what's their taste. And if the brand exists already, we look at what they have previously and we look at how we can improve on this design. So this is where competitor audits come in, when the brand already has other competitors existing. So in competitor audit, we know that this is like data gathering. We look at the competitions to the businesses. For example, let's say for fintech is simple to use. For fintech, we know that fintech, we already have like many fintech products already existing. So it's always easy to find competitors. We can take these products and we can look at them and we can say, okay, this brand offers the same thing with me. Yeah, we offer something different, or we use a different model, but how do we want to explain our own uniqueness? So as designers who are trying to create seamless designs, we have to know that you can't just copy and paste. Okay, I remember this thing, the Kuda Bank and Daffy Bank issue. You can see that Kuda Bank and Daffy Bank copied Kuda Bank. I don't know if anyone knows that stuff. Daffy Bank copied Kuda Bank's design. The same layout, the same everything. So really disgusting to watch. Because it will have just taken them a few more minutes to just explain their own value. You don't stand to be unique if you just copy. You do not just change the design or change something. And that was really off-putting. And because they copied Kuda Bank probably designed their own with a particular goal in mind. They had a vision, they knew why they arranged everything side by side and with their unique selling point and everything. The animation, they were intentional about everything. But that people just went ahead and just copied everything. They missed out on several things. The padding from left to right was terrible. The illustration was really terrible also. And that's because they just copied. They clearly didn't do any research. Because they have done research and they're taking their time, they will have laid out this information to fit their own brand. Because sometimes some products can have 3 services or 3 unique selling points, and your own product would have just 2. Clearly, you cannot arrange them the same way the other product has it. You have to arrange it to fit your own style, to fit your own layout that that will constant around your product. So seamless design cannot be done without research. If the design is nice and easy to use, they must understand that research and data finding is the foundation to these designs. So as a designer, you have to understand what you are doing. That design is not art, it's a product. I think it took me a long time to understand that design is not art, it's a product. Because I was like, I remember those days when I would design stuff. I've gone to delete them from my dribble. I still need to do some of them. But I'm thinking I'll just work on them and do a video on how to redesign my old terrible designs. So those days I would look at them like, oh my god, check out this design, check out this. And looking at it 2 years after, it's really terrible. And I think that's what for many people that's what we find out. Because we focus on it and look at it as an art. But we are designers. We are not just designers designing something that is beautiful. We are designing something to a goal. to a reason. It's a product we are designing. So, while we're trying to put things together in this first stage of design, we'll see that we have the idea development, where we find out who the product is for. Are we designing for young people? Are we designing for elderly people? Can we use font width that is regular or mid? You have to consider eyesight of older people. And contrast, accessibility. Will they use it? Or will they want it? For example, Piggyvest has this Abeg thing on their app that really annoys me. It's made me the Abeg app. The Abeg app is really beautiful, but then, as you can see, we don't really need that product. And I think I can see it anywhere. I want to see a person who come and say, Peter, you're wrong. What do you know? Yeah, I don't know plenty of things, but I know that the Abeg app, even from day one when I've been seeing the advert, was not really a product that people would want to use for a long time. I didn't see it lasting for a long time. I'm actually curious to see their comeback and see what they would do. But I don't think Nigeria has good user research or pays attention to user research. I mean, Nigerian people, or I mean, tech people mostly, to find a way to make it work for us. Because they have done that in the first place, they don't have done their backup. So, anyways, let's look at the approach. How are we going to do it? The best expansion for this approach thing is to talk about. We have Webflow Conference 2021. I think you can look at it when you're free. Watch a video of Webflow Conference 2021. The way they did the design and how they did it, the award-winning design, was really nice. And it took some, these designers a lot of process to find out how they wanted to convey the information on the site. And I think they did it with, they had a ball at the start of above the fold, that was scrolling down and dropping down till the end of the website. So implementation matters. Okay, are we designing for 1080 resolution screens? Are we designing for mobile? Where's our focus going to be on? I think sometimes if your focus is going to be for mobile and you're designing the website, you have to focus that people use on website on mobile first of all. So you have to make sure that you pay consideration to how the product will look like. There are some designs that are terrible they are nice on web, but they are terrible on mobile screens. So implementation is also a big factor to a seamless design. So benefits. Why should it be done in the first place? What advantage does it give us if our product is this way, that way? Why many of us still argue about Nairaland? They say people still use it. I can't use it. I don't know how to use that product. So we have Jacob's law, which was in previous slide, which I should have spoken about. And Jacob's law is about designing products to look like product that already exists. For example, the search bar. Because you're a designer, you should create a search bar that is not the regular rectangle or with the radius, border radius, or straight radius. It doesn't mean you should start creating search bars that we've never seen before. Because when it's time to use it, these are not you. They are different people who already have seen how other search button works. And they would always expect that your product also does the same way. For new products like Facebook Web, it's really unique because Facebook Web came out when we didn't have anything like Facebook Web. We had messengers in the 2000 and maybe one Yahoo Messenger, but it's not like Facebook Web. So the vision to build Facebook was really, really amazing. So even though you are going to, there are times when you can take risk and be the first designer on a product. There's a product I'm working on right now. Not like that exists, but then I know that I still have to follow regular patterns that exist to create this product. The model must still look the same way, even though the product does not exist. So we're not going to create something out of the moon. So the next thing is design process. How are we designing it? How do we do this web thing itself? So the job of the designer is not to make information look pretty, but to decide if the elements on a page decide if the element should be blue or should be green. That's not our goal. These ones are just like the 0.01 decisions we have to make. If you are a designer trying to make a seamless design, you should get to a stage whereby you're not just saying, oh, okay, the color is this. The color should be the least of your worries. yes, you have to get the color right. You have to get the typography right. You have to get your design principles right. But you have to think beyond that. The position of the button, everything, it all just depends on several factors. So, are you giving a particular button an emphasis? You might be giving the wrong button an emphasis. And I know that's why we have A and B testing. So you can test the different buttons to see it. But then understand as a designer creating seamless design. It is not seamless because the design is good or it is beautiful. That's not why the design is seamless. It's not because the design is clean or neat, but because you have the button, the right button in the right place. For example, you create a product and then there's no back button after user posts someone. The person has to start from the beginning. That's not seamless design. Navigation has to be impeccable, it has to be right. You have to arrange the structures properly. So I said here, good design arises from the initial problem, the goal, the audience, or the readership needs, and business plans, and reflects the identity and brand of the client. The clients, which I mean here, the users. So we'll talk about one of the first important things that you find fully on a website or on a product. This is typography. And I said, yeah, typography is the core building block for brands. Companies like Microsoft, BBC, Nike, they are very, very recognizable when you see them with the typography. Why they use the popular Montserrat, Didoni fonts or typography, you can always identify them because there's a way they work it that makes it look unique. That you know, okay, I've seen this font before. This is like what Microsoft will use, and this is why. In fact, I think typography is the one of the ways to know if your design is $1 million design. Typography and maybe layouts also. I've seen some Nike websites and I think Ford websites that looks like, okay, how did they pay this company? They probably pay this company, the agency, design agency, maybe like $100,000 or 500 or $1 billion to create the design. And these companies understand how to use different elements. They may not use many pictures or many of the things you do in our designs with the gradient and the background or animation. So just be simple typography and just pictures of the brand. And then they're eating their big cake. And then when you now go on Medium or you go somewhere and you go and see how they designed the design, you still will not understand. You'll be like, okay, what are they doing? I mean, that was me years ago. I'm like, okay, I wonder how much they paid for these people, how much they paid for this product. So when we talk about typography and typeface, I will not be talking about the difference between the two, but then we see that color and imagery are used to communicate. They have defining characteristics that give them personalities. Different typography can be seen in we have what we call the bar, the axis, serif and sans serif generally. We know that. So if the font is not serif, it is sans serif. So we know these things, and we know that that these things, typography, gives a brand the tone. For example, looking at Flutterway's new design, you can see that Flutterway's new design is really tailored towards the millennials and Gen Z. Is their new designs, because more than ever before, Nigeria does not have good jobs for people. You can see that people are going to be selling digital products more than ever before. And if you look at Flutterway's new design, you see that it is really patterned. It is not structureless. It's not like their old design. Their old design was just like, okay, let's just test the waters. That's how I feel about it. Their new design now, with the good and bold fonts that they're using, or typography they're using, you know that, okay, they are really, they know who their audience is. They know the audiences really well. So, apart from that, we need to understand that it's not because every font is fine, should be used. There's fonts can be categorized into different phases. We have web-based fonts and third-party fonts. Yes, third-party fonts are the fonts that you and I can easily just go and just create it, using technologies to create fonts and upload it for the internet. It might be fine, but does it render well? For example, when you design a website, for me, we designed with WordPress many years ago. If your websites are taking 11 seconds to load, people would not be patient, because web-based fonts are fonts that are already installed in everybody's computers. So when we are designing, we have to make sure that we're using good fonts that render fast. We want your website to load in 3 seconds because people are not patient. People are not patient. So using good typography and good color is one way to create seamless experiences. As a designer, use typography that would work. When you just decide on choose typography, don't just choose it from different things. Look at other brands if they're using it. Yes, it's fine. I know I kind of like a font called Trap and Degular. They're actually both similar, and they work fast. But it's okay if you go and look at big brands and look at what they're using. They don't use all the fine fonts we use, to be honest. They don't. They stick to Montserrat, they stick to Open Sans, Sego UI, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, they use Sego UI typography. And looking at it, it's because it renders fast across every device. Sego UI is default found on every computer. And that's because it takes time for the browser. This is like front end thing I'm saying now. It takes time for the browser to call this the font on different browser sprints and then render the fonts. So it's okay to use fonts that already exist before for your design. Hierarchy. Everyone knows what hierarchy is. So typography is how different faces, weights, sizes of typeface structures in a document. So hierarchy can be in big, bigger, biggest, or small, smaller, smallest. We know that the biggest item is going to take more priority. And there are different ways of getting hierarchy. For example, look at this design. The first thing you probably look at or see is this picture. Now this is hierarchy 1. We can name it 1. The next thing you add to that to this area. 2. The next thing you look at this 3, 4 before you read this one and before you read this one. Now this is a very, very good definition of hierarchy. So as a designer, it's always good to understand hierarchy and to know how to use it. So if you want to draw attention to a particular item or something on design, use hierarchy. You guys hierarchy through size, font weight, and color. So the fact that you're using 24 pixel grid for your H1 or H3 and you're using 24 pixel for H4 but with a different color does not mean there's no hierarchy there. Hierarchy is just in color. So early typographers used their manuscripts using one font, one size, one color with hand-painted illustrations. These designs, if you want to look at them, they're like, what do we call them again? Is it retro? What's the word for this design? All those traditional designs. The fonts are always big and they always use serif font. And it becomes really, you have to pay attention, super attention to understanding or to the information on the design, on the product. But with design becoming better over the years, we can see that typography, is very, very important. And with psychology of design, we can also see that people pay attention to stuff based on hierarchy also. Color. The second thing is color. So personally, I hate the yellow color and the neon green. When I talk to new designers and then they come and they give me one green color like that, I'm like, I don't like it. But I've also seen designs where people have been able to get away with these colors. And because the color is your preference or my preference in design does not mean that the color is totally bad. We understand that there's color theory and colors play a big role in how you view a product. But let us always use colors to create the right meaning for our design. Colors carry a lot of meaning. I would not use red for my design. I mean the bold red, I would not use it for design. Because it's immediately off-putting in design. There's a feeling it gives. People have explained, researchers have explained that the blue Facebook used or it chose is because it has this calm feeling, and that's why I use this color. And I think people who are psychologists also talk about certain colors. We know that red and it's not really good for bulls. Bulls do not like the red color. And I think for humans also, certain colors will not give us a good experience when we use it on the products. I know all these things, we know them already. So I may have my choice of color, or you may have your choice of color, but then you start to say, oh, I like this color for this reason, I like this color for this reason. But your brand might need to use that color you don't like, because your product is geared towards the idea of what the color represents. So you have to use the color to match your product ideas. You know, you're going into agro and you're using purple. Why are we doing that? There's some things you have to know that we cannot break. There's some rules you have to know that we cannot break. I'm doing an agro investment or agro company and I'm using the deep purple. It doesn't work. You can see this image here that they accurately, or they used yellow very well. And it's a light variation of it. So if you're working for a brand and they use a particular color, it's always okay to create different spectrums of colors from the brand's color. These colors all convey different meanings to it. The hues and saturations of this color, the light, amount of light the color has, can play a very, very good role in information, architecture, and also in passing a message. For example, you know that for different states, over states, and when you click on the button state, they have different colors, because this visual information tells the users that, okay, I have clicked this button, that is why it is taking this color. I have not clicked on this button, that is why it is this light gray color. If I click on this light gray button and I send the money, the button changes to the brand's primary color. So this is how to make a design seamless. You're not allowing the users to wander here and there, understanding if they clicked on it before. I think this happened. A very good example is Instagram. No, not Instagram. Twitter. Some months ago, they changed the color of the follow button and unfollow button. For a while, it confused me, and I think it's really bad. It's a bad UX, or perhaps it's not bad UX. Maybe I'm the one who just doesn't know. But it was really confusing to me. Have I followed? Have I unfollowed? I could not tell looking at the color, because I wasn't reading text. I was just using the color as a cue to know if I had followed the account or I had not followed the account. So, how do we lay out information? After looking at color and typography, we will be talking about principles of design here, or designing anything. So I think that this topic is a very, very large topic that we need more than 2 hours to talk about. So this is just me trying to just squeeze everything together into one. So yeah. So how do I arrange all information into a seamless experience? So laying out the website is where all the different aspects of web design come into play. So the research I've done, information architecture and the experience design through the color, typography, and grid systems are how I start to piece together how I will go about a design. Every design you do as a designer, or we do as designers, has to be because we've had a background with the information we've taken. And this information that we've taken means we have to pattern the content or the values or the products on our designs in a particular manner. So layout can be defined as how you structure the elements on a website to look. And when you structure them, again, we're not structuring because it is art. We are structuring because we are trying to showcase products in a particular fashion that tells well of the brand. It's true that layout can be an headache, even for the best designers. This is why we have mood boards. With our mood boards, we go there and we just take this information and we take similar designs to our products or competitor websites and look at how they've patterned their layouts, and we do something similar. So there are different ways to talk about layouts in design and to look at this information. Here we can see this triangle where we have three information standing out that the user wants us to see. So this is the triangle method, and they put the function in certain ways. 5 simple steps. 1. When is this particular book available? Practical guide to designing for the web. It will be available on the 22nd of the 2nd of February, 09. Then the image of the book is here. So by looking at this structure, you can see that it was intentionally done. It was not just an afterthought. They didn't just say, "Oh, I'll put this here, I'll put this here, I'll put this here." So for people who are mostly doubting, I've spoken to several people, and then they are doubting when they are designing. "Oh, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do in this." Now they're like, "Hey, this looks good already. It looks good." But just when you're designing, just give it a purpose. Why are you doing it like this? Why are you doing this way? So in one of the other ways of making a layout, we have what they call the rule of third. We have the golden ratio also, which I won't be talking about today. So the rule of third, it states that you split your design. For example, this screen, you split it into 3 different sections, and then you put the information on the third part of the section, either left or right, it doesn't matter, top or bottom. So many times you see many websites always put their content or their call to action on the left with a visual representation of the brand on the right, explaining things. This is not by chance. This is a design style called the rule of third. So this style helps you to understand where the viewer's eyes are naturally drawn to. The point where the lines of the grid converge. The top left intersection is likely to draw users' eyes first, followed by the one below it, then the upper right and the bottom right. I'm sorry, you have to go and check more on the rule of third, and you can start to use it to design. I've seen many designs, even for agencies abroad, they use this rule of third so much. They would not even add text, images. They just put the text, large text, in one corner with so much white space. Then they now go to the other sections and start creating more content or adding their unique selling points and their products. This is intentional. You see that the website is always really beautiful, And then when we try to replicate it, we don't understand that what they are done is rule of third. We fumble, and then we now start to remove it and change it because we didn't get what we're trying to do. We understand the rule of third. We could easily create, designs that are very, very useful because they follow psychology of users. Users are drawn to designs that are, that understand them. So as designers, we have to understand our users and follow the principles already researched by Norman, Vincent, and the likes. Oh, okay. So I was explaining here again. So I was explaining here that the humble triangle is a powerful aid in composing layouts. For example, if you look at the Last Supper picture by Leonardo da Vinci, and you see all the 12 disciples sitting left and right of Jesus, according to the researchers, they say that design was made using the triangle method. Basically, sorry, this is a mistake. This is not the rule of third. This is the triangle method I'm talking about here. So, even images and pictures use the rule of third and the triangle method. So something really very, very important is talking about the grid system, which is like very, very important. Apart from us as designers understanding grid system, even in construction, because I did study building technology in school, and I always designed structured buildings and stuff, and we have to use grids. The grid used in design is not really structured towards a particular size. We create those sizes ourselves, but in design we have grid systems, especially the explain grid system, which is the most popular one. So I do not really understand everything about grid systems. What I just know is that I always split my designs to how it will fit me, because I think it helps the developers pick your grid and then understand how to also structure their div. The div, I think everyone should at least know what divs are, and sections in design. So the div we use and how to, structure it to the flex box and everything. All depends on how we split our designs into different sections. It helps very well, because this area, for example, now can be seen as one div, another div, and it spans from ear to ear. This one spans from ear to ear. This is the usefulness of grid. Sorry for this, I didn't take this out. So we use grid to order graphical elements. So before we even talk about this, we have to understand that grid systems are familiar when we talk about ratios and proportions. The way I design grid for mobile is not the way I design it for dashboards. Dashboards, I know that we're going to have the side menu at the left and then the content at the right. So it's different for web. The same way is different for dashboards. But all this depends on you. You can use the grid that you want. You can forget about all this 1:2, 2:3, 3:4. I do not really use it, but I just wanted to just talk about it here. So this is the golden ratio. Golden section this is the golden ratio. So understanding grid system is one way to understand how to style our layout and put the content after we've understood and done our research. Another thing to note when we're trying to create seamless design is navigation. Navigation is the cornerstone of usability. If your designs are not usable, it won't only be because of colors, sometimes it can be navigation. I think I explained at the start that I had a website from university that was not usable because the navigation was terrible. I could not locate this and this item. I could not tell where to go on the design. Some designs have made it easy for us to understand or to use navigation. So sometimes you use the website and then there's no back button. You can't go back home. You have a 404 page, or your website doesn't have a 404 page. It just keeps loading, and the user cannot get back home. The user has to just start typing the URL again from the start. And this is because, the designers do not consider navigation. So if the user cannot get through your website or your product, they will just leave the website and just find something else or go to your competitors. So one of the things to note is simplicity. Navigation should always be simple, not extravagant. As simple as possible, using cues like color, overstates, scroll effects, to ease navigation understand it. So ensure that your users are able to visit the product by clicking one or two buttons and they are able to find out what they are using. In simplicity, you also have to note that for them to get to a destination, they don't have to do more than 2 clicks. There are times I'll design websites where that you can have on the About Us page, you can have the vision and mission statement on the About Us page. Or some people want to have it inside the About Us page. They would have the mission statement button that will take them to another page and that page, when you can just have everything on one page. So this is all part of seamless design. A seamless design has to be smooth, not just in look, but in how it takes the user journey. So users are not supposed to be guessing what this button will do or where to take them, because the copy also has to be perfect. The copy and the text for this button has to be clear. I shouldn't be guessing what it means. That if I click this place back, don't worry, I'll just click back. Then consistency. If I'm using the home page and I look at the menu should be the same thing as if I'm on the About Us page. I shouldn't see, if I'm not logged in, I shouldn't see sign up on the home page, on the navigation on the home screen, home page, and then I'm on the About Us page and I'm seeing something else, it really does not make, it doesn't carry the user along if we do that kind of design. And I know we all know these things. So, yeah. So, navigation system should be the same on all the pages. I think I spoke about Jacob's law before. I don't know if I spelled it right. So Jacob's law is, making sure that the product looks the same. It's a law that states that users are familiar with similar patterns across across different products, especially if they used the product before. So a properly structured page would help visitors find each user's interface element. There's no specific or rule, but if you look at material design, you can check material.io to look at the guidelines for web. You can see that proper page structure helps you find out where this element and this element goes, where this product goes, or where the other product goes into. So, I don't know if I went too fast, too slow, but then we have accessibility, which is also very, very important. So, over the years, people have been paying more attention to accessibility. There's some website where you go to, and then you find that they have multiple buttons for you to change the text size, because they know that people who are visiting the website can be maybe visually impaired, or they may have different eye conditions. So when we are choosing all these things, especially typography and color, in size, in font weight and color, we have to understand that we are going to be intentional about accessibility. We have to make sure that the products we are designing can be used by the people we are trying to make them for, and that it does not alienate certain people from visiting the product. A design will not be seamless if it is not if it's unusable, if it's unaccessible. If the colors are not matching the typography is not loud enough, it will be difficult for people to use. Like we can see here, we might try to sometimes make our text. There are times we create products whereby we have multiple buttons for categories, for example, and then we say all. The all is in bold, as a bold background color. Then we have other buttons, but then instead of making the other button text black and finding another way to make sure that we show the buttons well, we would just reduce the opacity of the button or make it lighter. And it doesn't work all the time. If you look at the hotspots or you track the usability or the traffic on these pages, you find out that many people do not know that these things are there, because we've intentionally tried to focus more on designing rather than accessibility. There are many websites by big companies. If you look at them, I do not like them. I don't like websites from Ford. I don't like I think Rihanna's website, for example. I don't like Fenty Beauty's website. And I tried creating one for Tatcha. In 2019, I designed Simply Tatcha's website, and then I was like, you know what? I'll use Rihanna's website as a cue, but then I'm going better. Then I think this girl was Kylie Jenner's website also. And I'm like, I know that she must have paid millions for this website, and then I'm only collecting 400,000 for this website. But then I want to create something better than her website. Jokes on me. Yeah, I created something beautiful. But there were many problems. I'll probably talk about them that day. And this is all because I paid more attention to beauty than accessibility. Because there's some products that I'm not clicking on because I made certain category buttons look a certain way. I reduced the opacity. I was just being around. I didn't really take it seriously when I was designing these things. So accessibility plays a very important role in design. So I think this is really weird because I mean I'm done, and perhaps this is the next one I want to answer questions.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much. And I think let me clarify something. I know we scheduled this meeting or this session rather for 2 hours, but then it's really just you don't have to like spend the whole 2 hours. Do you get? So we just like
Yeah,
so that we would allow it in case your session is like a little bit long and all. Do you get it? So thank you
yeah.
very much for the talk, and I think we can just welcome questions now. If you have any questions, just throw it to Peter. You can unmute yourself or just drop it in the comment section, and Peter will try to answer.
Sending the questions.
So why people think about think of their questions? I think I have a couple questions that I would like to ask. Okay, so the first question would be when you were giving the talk, you mentioned mood board. So I just want to know how you go about creating your mood board. Is there a particular thought process, direction, or something that you use in creating your mood board? And also, creating mood board, all these websites or pages that you add to your mood board, you don't just get them out of thin air. Where do you get them and all? Like, just what's the trick to creating, let's say, the perfect mood board?
Okay. Get my mood board, for example, if I'm trying to design a fintech company, a fintech website, and I'm taking all the information, the background information about the company, I look at specific things when I'm creating my mood board.
Okay.
If I see that the value proposition of the product and the layout would favor a particular design, I would look for mood boards that have similar patterns to what I'm trying to create.
Okay.
I know that the company I'm looking for XYZ has 3 services. They collect payment in crypto, they invest. So I'm looking for mood boards that are similar to these things, that offer this kind of services, or that are going to have layouts that look at what our brand is looking at. It may not even be, the mood board might not even be on a competitor. It might just be on, even I could want to do something for a fintech company, and then my mood board would look at the way an agro company arranged their unique selling point.
Okay.
And I'll
Okay.
steal that, and I'll just use it. Yeah, you can steal from other similar products. You could steal from a church website style, the way they put in their unique selling points. It would be
Okay.
very, very nice. You could just take that and just copy it. And so that's why my process for finding my mood board takes me more hours than designing.
Okay.
My inspiration, finding these things, I spend more time. I probably spend more than maybe 60% of time finding these things than designing. For example, if I want to design a screen, I see, or 2 screens, just because I want to post on my LinkedIn, I spend more than maybe 3 hours finding the perfect mood board for it before I start designing. Design will take me just 1 hour, but then I want to lay out my information in a certain way, and that will take me more time than the design itself.
Okay. So do you use some particular websites to get these ideas? Do you maybe dribble Behance or
Yes, I use Dribble Behance. Then there's landing books. There's land books.
okay?
There's I don't know if you know this one.
Lapado Ninja, yeah.
There's SASland. So yeah, I come to land books a lot because land book has a lot of it has several designs for people. So I use this to most times. There are so many other ones. I'm not sure I remember them. Let me check. use this Lapad and Ninja. I can get design. Then there's bookmark.
Okay.
Bookmark.design.
You could just like maybe make a list and drop on the chat in the chat box so that
Or just share with the community later.
yes, can you share in the community?
Okay, I'll do that. So I just all of them. Let's now say I'm looking for example, let's look at this website, for example. This is a website that shows private networking. This is networking, right?
Okay.
You don't have to do with fintech. But then let's assume I'm trying to create a peer-to-peer platform for fintech, whereby I put it's a community based. Let's say it's like Ajo.
Yeah.
Like yeah. I could say, okay, this is nice. I like this, and then I look at how this can fit into my Ajo design. If it's purpose, I'm like, okay, this can all these people represent different people in the community trying to make savings or loan people money. I look at that and I start to look at how I can, start structuring the rest of my services to fit the service I'm looking at. I don't just take design. That's why I can't work with people who do not give me design briefs. First of all, I can never work with that design brief. Yeah, I can be looking for money because of Sapao. I say I want the client's money. Many times why I probably would get frustrated is because I have to sometimes return people's money. I return people's clients' money. I'm like, okay, you're not giving me this thing. I'm going to start. So I'm like, see, until you just take your money back, and when you're ready, let us start. Because by giving me all these things, I'm looking at mood boards, and I can tell what to do and how to structure, what I want to structure. I don't just see because I see they did icon, then text. I'll do the same kind of style. Your design will not fit into these things. We don't even have all these values. The brand will not even have all these values. 6 values. We have just 4. So you want to style it according to how it looks like. Then I can say okay, I have 4. Then there will be just 4 of them here, and a picture here. Depends on the products. It's not every type of design that needs a particular style. Look what they've done here. You can see there's something loading here. I've never seen this side before, but it's like there's something playing for different things. It's showing different presentation. But I'm not even sure this particular website will be actually good on mobile view. I'm not sure to be able to show all these things on mobile view. By the time you compress it together, I'm not even sure if it should have. You see, they take me out. You can't have the animation there.
Yeah, you can't have the animation on mobile.
Yeah. And this is how to understand seamless design. Now, the problem will now be that you now start arguing with your developer. That put the animation there. You try to force the animation to be in the design in mobile view. You argue with him, you argue. Then the next thing, your boss is not changing design and saying it. See the way they styled it. They add the particular style they were gunning for. They just followed it. Add the color, and so that's why I choose my mood board. I don't just choose any random thing because it works for that particular brand, or because they're necessarily the competitor. I look at trying to do and the value I'm trying to pass across.
Okay, thank you very much. So please, if you have any questions, just drop or just unmute yourself to ask a question.
Hi, Peter.
I
have a question. Okay, so most times some design folks really do not know how to price or charge a client for a particular project. So what would you say it's the way you charge, or the best way to charge for a project or a gig? So what are the metrics you look at, and what it's like a benchmark for you to say, okay, I can't go less than this, I can't do less than this? Just throw some light on that.
Okay. Usually some clients, especially some white people who are really, really trying to prey on Africans designers, they will come and then they'll force you to take a per hour charge. They don't pay per hour. And I would tell you to not take that, but instead charge based on value. There's no particular way to look at this thing, but then you charge based on value. Like, okay, this project, what does it mean to the client? How big is it? What is the extent? Also, never give a price without seeing the entire A to Z of the project. What are we doing? You get, so you collect the brief and look at what you're designing from A to Z and say, I'm designing this and this and this. Then you can now start to charge based on value. I do not recommend charging based on the rates. Do not charge based on rates. And if you're going to charge based on rates per hour, look at the rates people are charging out there, and then just charge another 20%. Add an extra 20% to it, because you know that this particular client will just want to, cut down and and try to bargain you. But it's best to charge based on value. To be honest, there's no particular metric, but look at the value of the product to you. Look at what you are bringing into the product and charge. In fact, look at the client's tone. I would say this anywhere. When you see a client stressing you in just the talking stage, add an additional 10% for stress. They will stress you. Ask anywhere. You will even see they will stress you. Ask anywhere. They will always stress you. And if you try to pity people or pity the client, say, you know what, let me just do this. If you try to look at the fact that you maybe need money, and you try to agree to their price or try to come down for them a bit because they don't have money, they will stress you. Why? Because I listened to Christo explain this thing. He said because the clients who will pay you well, they always have extra money. They know that if this thing fucks up, they can probably just suck it up and just go. But the clients who will pay you small money, they know that this is all the money they have. So they want to make sure that they use you, and they use you very, very, very well. So never pity clients when you want to charge. Charge based on value for the project.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much, Peter. So I think
that makes sense. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So please, if you
does anybody have any other question, guys?
Okay, it seems like we do not have any other questions, and I think it would just be best that we wrap up now, right, Samuel?
Yes. So, thank you, Peter, for taking out the time to show us how to design a seamless user website and website experiences. I'm sure like everybody must have gotten a thing or two from this session, and also when we share this section in our YouTube channel, it will be useful to other designers and non-designers out there. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
And that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you, everybody. And I think one thing that we would have to do now is, Peter, please, whenever you are less busy, the website that you used, to get your mood boards and all, you can just so you can just drop it for us on the community. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and ciao.